Obviously, today is a special day for all of our Hall of Fame inductees, but today actually started a month ago when we took a special induction ceremony to the Illinois Veterans Home and inducted Coach Bill Starky, who is our first honoree for professional achievement. Bill Starky graduated from Quincy College in 1970 with a history degree. A Quincy native, Bill stayed in the area after earning his degree and was the head coach of the Quincy Notre Dame High School volleyball and softball teams for 18 seasons. Bill coached 5 state champions at QND, 2 in volleyball in 1978 and 1980, and 3 in softball in 1981, 1982, and 1984. Bill's volleyball teams also had 2 second-place finishes in the state tournament and 1 third-place finish. In softball, his team also had 2 third-place finishes. Coach Starky had a 500 and 174 win-loss career record in volleyball and an amazing 433 and 98 win-loss career record in softball. This is a remarkable win-loss percentage of 774 for his career as a head coach at 2 sports at Quincy Notre Dame. Bill was named to the Illinois Girls Association Hall of Fame in 2000 and to the Illinois Softball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2002. Bill taught at QND for 40 years. He also served 2 years in the Army during the Vietnam conflict. Coach Starky could not be with us today, but we are honored to have the person who first hired Coach Starky, Mr. Phil Conover, in attendance. Phil always did know great talent, and Bill Starky was no exception. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Starky. Kevin Steinkamp, meritorious service. Kevin has been volunteering at Quincy University and for the Mart Heinen Club for 53 years. He spent the majority of his volunteer time at QU sporting events, selling and taking tickets, ushering at men's and women's basketball games, and also at men's and women's soccer, football, sprint football, and volleyball games. Kevin has supervised parking at men's and women's soccer games for 45 years. He has also helped with the Mart Heinen Golf Tournament, Chili Cook-Off, Holiday Basketball Tournament, and in the press box. Kevin was honored with the Mart Heinen Club Worker of the Year Award. He has also helped QU for several years by making phone calls for the Advancement Office annual phone-a-thon. Kevin and his wife received the Quincy Exchange Club Golden Deeds Award in 2018 for their work in the Special Olympics for over 3 decades. Kevin is the president of the Quincy University Retirees Association. Kevin was a Quincy University employee for over 30 years. He consistently volunteered his service time while he was at Quincy University employee and has continued volunteering since he left QU. Please help me welcome Kevin Steinkamp to the stage.
Right. This all started 53 years ago in 1970 when Virginia Weiner asked my dad to help in the sports. My dad says, "Oh, I'm too busy, but Kevin's on it. He can do it all the time." So he volunteered me. And I'd like to thank my wife and daughter for letting me out of the house all these years. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kevin. Our first athlete inductee, Jamie Oyer, women's basketball. Jamie graduated from QU in December of 2000 with a degree in physical education. She was a member of the women's basketball team from 94 to 99 and as a student assistant from 2000 to 2001. Jamie was a menace all over the court throughout her time at Quincy University. When Jamie ended her college career, she held QU records in steals in a season with 82 and in career steals with 278. She's still third in career steals and fifth in season steals. Upon graduating, Jamie was third all-time in scoring with 1,324 points, and she held a season-best free throw percentage of 81.5%. Her game stats also stand out. Jamie currently holds records for most points in a game with 41, most field goals in a game with 20, most field goal attempts in a game at 27. She is still tied for first in most steals in a game with 9. She earned several awards, including the Team Defensive MVP Award, the Team's Defensive and MVP Award during the 98-99 season, and was the 1999 Mart Heinen Award winner. For 2 seasons, Jamie was named All Great Lakes Valley Conference. For 23 years, Jamie has taught physical education to students ranging from kindergarten to 9th grade. She was awarded her National Board Certification in Elementary Physical Education in 2010 and earned her master's degree in sports management in 2018. Please help me welcome Jamie Oyer to the stage.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, a privilege to stand in front of you all. Please bear with me as my normal, when I have a group this big, they're 5 to 10 years old. Thank you to Penny Lewis, Ron Dempsey, and Sandy DeVoe for taking a chance on me. Coach Lewis told me my role on the team was to lead by example, and I feel to this day that that's what my strong point still is, and I lead with all my friends and teaching friends. Coach Dempsey helped me sharpen the skills in my post play. Sandy became a great mentor and friend. Coach Just, when he came to QU, I wouldn't be here without him. He had multiple reasons to remove me from his roster. I walked in to meet with him, and he eased my mind and helped me to do what I needed to do on the court. And then there's the friends that I've made from teaching. Miss B. Thank you for taking care of me when life was challenging. I still don't like to chase that little white ball around the field, but I'll ride in the golf cart, okay? Miss O, you and Mr. O, thanks for pushing me when I thought I knew everything. I still can't swim without plugging my nose. Doug, thank you for helping me to get my degree. I owe you for that. However, I left the cookie dough in the refrigerator in Arkansas. My teammates, we had a great time. We worked so hard. We played hard on and off the court. Special shout outs to A1, LJ, Dewana, and Kim. They were critical during those times that my senior year, I'd be going to class, and they would take care of Kristen for me while I was in class. And then Kristen got to run her first suicides with Swede one day after practice. Brian Wood, thank you for helping to manage my sprained ankles to my broken nose and to be a great practice player, but I don't think you ever saw that babysitting was one of your jobs. You were a lifesaver. To my family, thank you for being here. I love you all. Thank you for your love and support. A special shout out to my Aunt Linda, who drove many hours to come and watch me play. Taryn, thank you for completing me. Kristen, you are my hero. Gary, thank you for your love and support to help me finish my dream and for pushing me in my career. I love you, and thank you for being my #1 cheerleader. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Oyer. What's kind of funny about Jamie's, when they handed me the script, I was looking through Jamie's records. I think for the high point game, Jamie, you should have had 42 because you shot 82% from the free throw line, but you made 20 field goals, but it looks like you either had an and one or you missed a free throw. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Okay. Just wanted to clear that up for the committee, all right? Our next inductee, Kevin Reller, men's basketball. Kevin graduated from Quincy University in 1990 with a marketing degree and had 2 standout seasons for our basketball team. In the 1988-89 season, Kevin shot 45.9% from the field, 33.7% from the three-point range, and 82.8% from the free throw line. Kevin scored a total of 373 points that season, which equals 13.3 points per game. His rebounds and assists were also strong with 169 rebounds for the season, which is 6 rebounds per game, and 59 total assists, which averages out to 2.1 assists per game. The Hawks finished 20-8 that season under Coach Jay Lowenthal. In the 1989-90 season, Kevin stepped it up, shooting 50.8% from the field, 39.5% from three-point range, and 76.3% from the free throw line. Kevin scored 140 more points than the previous season for a total of 513 points, which equals out to 18.3 points per game. His rebounds and assists also increased for a total of 212 rebounds for the season, which is 7.6 rebounds per game and 66 assists. The Hawks finished the 1989-90 season with an 18-10 record under Coach Brad Dunn. Ladies and gentlemen, our next inductee, Kevin Reller.
Well, Kevin Steinkamp, I was going for the shortest speech, but I'm not going to beat that. Well, first off, I want to thank the committee and Quincy University for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I want to congratulate all the other recipients here today because it's quite exciting. I watched a lot of the other players because I worked here for about 13 years, so I saw Jamie play. I saw there's Julie. I saw several of the other Demetrius. I saw them all play, so I know they're well-deserving. And I want to just say that my parents are here today, so they started me in basketball, and I got to thank them for being here, and thanks for all they did for me. And so I've got my 2 daughters and my wife, got to thank them for their support as well. And then, coaches are what makes players. So it goes with a long list of good coaches that I had when I was growing up. I had a great high school coach down at Troy Buchanan High School, and Mitch Wilkins. And then I had a great junior college coach who just went in the Naismith Hall of Fame in August, Coach Gene Best at Three Rivers Community College in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. So he was inducted into the big hall. And then I got to thank the guys that coached here and recruited me here. Heck, I didn't know where Quincy, Illinois was. Being that close, you'd think you'd know where it is, but not really. But I can recall back in the early 80s as a young, guy watching high school basketball and reading the paper and the Quincy Blue Devils, where we sit here today, they were the #1 ranked team in the nation. And we watched, they were setting records and everything else. So then when I got the call from Coach Alan Barnett, who was the assistant coach here, who actually played at Three Rivers, so there's a little history there. He was a player on the 1979 national championship team at Three Rivers. So I was familiar with him, and actually I thought he was a coach at Southeast Missouri when he called the dorm, because of course we all had pay phones. We didn't have no cell phones, so he had to call the pay phone. They'd say, hey, Coach Barnett's on the phone for you. Reller, you got to go take that. Okay. So he called, and he's calling on behalf of Quincy College at the time, Quincy University, but I thought, well, he's calling from SEMO. He's coached for Ron Shoemate. But Jay Lowenthal, who was the head coach here, had got him to contact me, and then, of course, Jim Bearden was the assistant coach as well, and we got up here for a visit. Actually, the head coach, Steve Hawkins, was the grad assistant, so got familiarity right here. He's back. And so those 4 coaches I got to thank for recruiting me and bringing me to Quincy, because I was looking at Christian Brothers in Memphis, Tennessee, and other places, And I thought, well, we'll go take a look at Quincy, so funny story is, like I said, I knew about the Blue Devils because they were in the news. Well, I got up here, and I thought, man, Quincy's just 20 minutes north of Hannibal. My mom and dad made a lot of the games at Three Rivers. That's a long ways away from where I grew up, so this is a shorter trip. So, well, you know what? I'll decide on Quincy. And so the rest is history. We had some great players. When I got here, they had already recruited some junior college players the previous year, so Jay Lowenthal had increased from like a 9-23 record to 500 the year before. And then when I got here, we had about another 4 junior college players that showed up, so we were heavily juniors and seniors in that when I was a junior, so it was a pretty good season because of that, heavily with some juniors and seniors. So I have to thank those teammates. Without them, I wouldn't be standing here. As well as, in my senior year, one comment on that, we had a little, Jay Lowenthal took a job up in, for Bob Bender at Illinois State, and then we brought in, so I had 2 years, 2 coaches. And Brad Dunn showed up. So Brad's a little different breed of coach. He's pretty intense, so we had a little, we started off the season pretty good, but next thing you know, we're like 5-8, midway through the season. And we had just a couple of players we had left. And, one thing about Brad, he called me in the office, he goes, we had a 6'9" center from Mobley Junior College, Ron Rackers, good player, but coach was a little tough on him. And he goes, why do you think he left? I said, well, coach, it might be that when you rip the ball out of his hands and you kick the basketball from the three-point line up over the bleachers with your cowboy boots, that's a little bit intimidating in front of all the rest of the guys, I said, you might want to control yourself a little bit on when you get frustrated. He goes, okay. So season got better. We finished strong, and I think the last 16 games we were 14-2, so that's why we ended up 18-10. But anyway, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Thank the university, and congratulations again to all the other recipients. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kevin. Our next inductee, Don Wente, men's basketball. Don Wente graduated from Quincy College in 1970 with a degree in sociology. Don was well known for his toughness on the basketball court and his tenacious rebounding. As a freshman, Don led the JV team in scoring and rebounding. His junior year, Don started all varsity games. He led the team in rebounding with 10.5 rebounds per game and was second leading scorer with 15.2 points per game. He stepped it up even more when he was a senior and led the team in both rebounding and scoring, averaging 12 rebounds per game and 19 points per game. When he graduated, Don held the school record for most field goals in a game and in a season and most points scored as a senior. Don also earned awards including Honorable Mention All-Conference and the Zwick Rebounding Award his junior year. As a senior, Don earned the MVP of the QC Tourney, First Team All-State Small College Basketball Team, NAI District 20 Second Team, and First Team Midland Conference. Don's career stats are noteworthy. He totaled 1,059 career points and is among the top 15 players currently in career rebounds. His coach, Dewey Calmer, said that Don was one of the most intense, hard-nosed players ever. Coach Calmer called Don a 6'4" jumping jack rebounder, and he said that Don was strong and really mean on the boards and a strong defender. He could score around the basket against the best and biggest of defenders. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Wente.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'm not like Kevin. I need some notes for my speech. But I'll make it short and sweet. I can get the paper down here. Thank you, Josh, the selection committee, Coach Calmer, who was probably instrumental in getting me in the HOF. And I also like to congratulate fellow inductees. I want to recognize my family, who are pretty well all here. My wife of 53 years, Twyla. And my children and grandchildren, all who have supported me. I want to give special recognition to Mrs. Ortworth. She was wife of our AD and head coach, and she spent a lot of time alone because Coach was always at the gym or on the road with us. I also want to recognize my fellow teammates, who I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. Quincy University, I really enjoyed my stay at Quincy. The Franciscan influence, most of our professors were friars, the friendliness, the education, and the homey feeling. At that time, when I was here in '66, Quincy was thought to be the friendliest college in the USA. It was also thought to be the best party school in the USA. I wouldn't know anything about that. I'd like to talk about our team a little bit. You've heard enough about me. Coach Ortworth, he was away from home quite a bit, practice and games. He was a quiet man, well respected, like a father to all of us. And when he spoke, you listened. Coach Longo drew up plays that made us practically unstoppable. And Coach Calmer was an ex-Marine and in charge of conditioning, so you know we were in good shape. As a team, we were a family. We played hard, had a desire to win, and were not intimidated by taller, more talented teams. The 69-70 team averaged 92 points per game, and that was before the three-point shot. It's still a school record. That year we were 22-8 and had the most wins in school history. We won our conference and were invited to the NAIA tournament. We were an exciting team to watch and packed the gym every home game with students, faculty, and town people. I want to talk about my teammates here. And actually, the starting five of the 69-70 team were all in the Hall of Fame. Bob Osipka, stand up, Bob. He was my roommate and probably my best friend in college. He came to the team as a walk-on freshman, and he had played with such determination, he became a starter as a junior and a senior. Had the three-point shot been in effect, he probably would have led the nation in scoring. And he was so determined. Mike Brady, Mike, stand up, would you please? Mike was the most recruited and talented member of the team who could score, rebound, and defend, and had the most incredible behind-the-head dunk I've ever seen in my life. For a while, he held the school record for most career points and was first on our team to be a member of the Hall of Fame. He's also our team captain, 69-70. Paul Jackstadt, can you anyway, Paul's here also, a member of the Hall of Fame. He was our defensive wizard, excellent passer, and could score. As a junior, he was third leading scorer on our team, and when he was a senior, was the team leader. His high school coach told him that he couldn't score and not to shoot, but he was a pretty good shooter. Thanks, QU, for my education, the memories, and the experience. I really enjoyed my 4 years here. Thank you.
Congratulations, Don. Julie Lammer, softball. Julie earned a physical education degree in 2004. She was a 4-year starter for the Hawks as a pitcher and an outfielder, starting every game every season. At the close of her career, Julie held the single-season record for hits, both single season and career, for home runs, as well as ranking third in single-season RBIs and runs scored. As a senior, Julie had her best season of her career, leading the team in nearly every offensive category, including a .374 batting average, 46 runs scored, 65 hits, which set a single-season record, 13 doubles, 9 home runs, 48 RBIs, a .626 slugging percentage, and a .412 on-base percentage. Julie also finished her senior season as the team's leading pitcher in wins, starts, appearances, and shutouts. Julie led the conference in slugging percentage, runs scored, total bases, while ranging from second to fourth in batting average, hits, RBIs, and home runs. She was named the team's MVP, was an All-Great Lakes Valley Conference selection, a Louisville Slugger NFCA All-Region selection, and a recipient of the Brother Cleet Van Akron Award for Academic and Athletic Achievement. Currently, Julie is in her 9th season as the head softball coach at Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, coming off a 43-16 record last season with a trip to the Division II World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, Julie Lammer.
Oh, wow. Basketball players up here. I'm a little shorter than that. Okay. Thank you, Josh, for that introduction. You know, a little tidbit about Josh that he actually doesn't even know. I remember when I was a freshman, Raby and Kenny used to come back to campus all the time to work out and train. And after they had signed with Major League Baseball, and I remembered thinking at the time, like, wow, I'd really love to do something like that was big in my sport and that I could keep working hard at. And finally, I found that between my playing career and then also coaching. But just thank you for being an example of hard work when obviously nobody even knows that anyone else is watching. So couple different things. So I'm glad Dawn brought up that this was a party school because I didn't want to add that into my speech. However, I am still distraught that the football house is gone, the $1 million home. So, but I'm excited to see Shane going at the same time. A lot of good times, like obviously back then, and some really good faces that I've gotten to see during our time. So, not that I partied, but I do know it existed at QU. So, okay. Aside that, I do want to take a moment to thank the induction committee and staff. This is obviously a dream for myself, and I imagine those that also been inducted today. I have a unique, obviously, perspective on this. I work in athletics, as Josh said, and over the last 19 years, I've seen incredible athletes and members of athletic departments go into their Hall of Fames, and I've been a part of it, and I've had the perspective to recognize this is far more rare than it is common, and I'm extremely grateful. I know some of the people on the committee, and they've been long time, obviously, members of the QU, and I am over the moon that they obviously chose me and some of the other people here today. So I do want to thank them for that as well. So I actually have so many people to obviously thank, like in and out of this room. The Kevins did me a solid because they kept it short and sweet, and so I am a little more lengthy, sorry. So this has obviously been a journey of a lifetime, one that started far before QU. I'm going to miss a lot of people and not be able to thank everyone, so I apologize for that in advance. However, I want to start with my parents. My softball journey, ironically, did not start out how most would think someone that we're standing up here today was. So my mom actually dragged me to the softball field to watch my sisters and an older brother play, and with this idea that I would help, like the Basco community and play. And I think I screamed from the time that we got in the car until the time that we got back. So I'm rather loud, so she probably got tired of me like screaming and yelling, and because I literally hated softball and didn't want to play. So she actually just let me sit on the side and leave her roam because I wanted no part of being there at all. So I can only about imagine, Mom, that you did not think 30 plus years later that I'd be the one that you literally can't drag off the softball field. So time obviously flipped there. So Mom, you're probably the real, oh my gosh, the real MVP for just dealing with me at that time and not forcing me to play. Given the role that I am in today, I see a lot of young kids and kind of get forced into things and forced to play, and you let me be me, probably because you didn't want me to scream in the towns of Basker, Sutter, Rockford, and Warsaw, obviously disrupting them. But regardless, you let me decide when I wanted to actually play. I think I was about 8 years old when my sisters started pitching, and I finally decided to pick up a ball and started to play around a little bit. And at this time, I think that was probably the changing point. My sisters were pitching. It kind of looked a little different when I was doing it, and I think I actually started to enjoy it then. And at that point in time, from that moment on, everything was softball. It became my favorite sport. It became my passion. I've poured my heart and soul into it every day pretty much since. And so thanks, Mom, for obviously dealing with that. I want to thank my dad more than anyone. Listen, feel that. For always pushing me and finding ways to make me better. The countless hours that you spent on a bucket catching me. You turned a box spring mattress into a backstop with a painted wooden board on it for me to throw in the backyard every day by myself. And then somehow you started to learn how to pitch. I thought to pitch to me so I could hit, but somehow I became your catcher sometimes too. So I think that was for your own enjoyment and just trying to glory days for yourself. But that was obviously a moment for us to bond as well. Hitting me fly balls, constantly being a student of the game and picking other people's brains about pitching and softball. You helped a young girl build a relationship with Gerald that grew far beyond pitching. And he became family to us. I wish he was here to celebrate today, but I can imagine that him and all four of my grandparents are beaming down with pride on the accomplishment. They were all such a big part of the journey. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for showing Chris, Amy, and Darcy and I what true hard work is. I have no doubt that's every bit of why I'm standing up here today. You both have been extraordinary role models to us kids and truly thick as thieves as parents. You never told us what we wanted to hear, literally what we needed to hear, and I thank you for that. Thanks for all the endless tough love, the support, the discipline, the sacrifice, and the guidance. The two of you took a chance on thinking I could do something special with a couple invite opportunities to the CAT, Sting, and Misfit organizations and all the teams you let me travel on. There was a lot of money and time spent to make that happen, and my end goal has always been to make you both proud. I hope I've done that. Chris, Amy, and Darcy, thanks for always making me tougher than the kids around me in the competition. I have always been known to be scrappy, fiery, fearless, and passionate in every sport I played. And I have a feeling the three of you are to be credited for that. Amy, I see you crying. Stop. Stop. Chris, I'll never forget the time that you caught me in the backyard and I was throwing drop balls, and you, of course, had no mask on because why would you? And about my mid 60-mile-an-hour fastball pops up off the ground and splits open your chin. I know it hurt, but you acted like it didn't. So if you want to admit today that it hurt, that'd be great. So, be awesome. You've always been one of the toughest, strongest, and most authentic people I know. And I've tried to mirror that myself. It's qualities I truly admire in you. Amy and Darcy, don't even know where to go with this. The two of you have never missed anything when it comes to supporting me. You've always been my loudest supporters, alongside Mom, of course. She's louder than both of you. Everyone probably dreads hearing the Lammer girls are here, but that's how we roll. And you two are my best friends and always inspire me to be the best version of myself. Amy, you're probably lucky that the age gap was just perfect enough that you never actually had to play sports with me. It was bad enough that I stole your birthday. I can only imagine how you'd handle me yelling at you if we played together. So luckily for you on that. Darce, however, got to play literally every sport with me. And I'll never forget when I was in 8th grade and she told Coach Twitchell that not to worry because I'd be joining the team next year as a freshman and I was going to pitch. And I thought, wow, my big sister can't wait for me to play with her someday. She's so proud, and then I realized you literally just hated pitching so much that you wanted me to pitch every day of your career and mine. So I figured it out eventually. However, thank you, because that obviously ended in this, I believe, at some point. So thanks for helping me get here with that. Not everyone has, obviously, the relationship we have as siblings, and it's one of the greatest gifts of my life, so thank you. Growing up in a small town in the 80s and 90s, I'm not sure my family and I truly understood the opportunities that there were in college athletics. I'm from a farm 45 minutes outside of here, so I obviously didn't travel far. We did not know how to navigate the recruiting process, which is so much different than today. That we were in such a the advancements of our sports have made it amazing between social media and the internet. I mean, I literally sent a VCR tape to Quincy for my recruiting video. So the fact that we were sending out VCR tapes is crazy to think of now. But QU's head coach at the time, Tracy Marbach, who's actually here today, she traveled far to come for this moment. She was able to see me and pursue me recruiting-wise. So Tracy, thank you for taking an opportunity on a small town girl. I think largely in part because when I came on my visit, you thought that I looked farm strong. So thanks. And then you told me later you thought I was either going to be an amazing athlete or I could really throw some hay. So I can throw some hay too. So you definitely changed my life, not only in recruiting me to QU, which literally have been some of the best years of my life, but 3 years later you allowed me to begin my coaching career under you at North Dakota. I would not be inducted in here today without you, probably wouldn't even be here, obviously, and I would not be who I am today professionally without the opportunity to coach with you and you always believing in me. When we began coaching together, I remember you reminded me, I think you actually said that I care too much was like one of the things that you told me, but you reminded me that coaching is a very thankless profession and never to get defeated by the critics. But truthfully, days like today make all of the struggles worth it. So, and we realize that coaching can actually be the best job out there. So here's me giving you the thanks that you probably finally deserve. You always show up when it matters most, and I can't thank you enough for the impact that you've had on my life. I also want to thank Coach Peter, who was my coach the last 3 years. She inherited me and gave me a chance to do something special here late in my career. She continued to write me in the lineup day in and day out. I'm a very hard-nosed and stubborn. I'm sure I was not easy to coach often. But I always worked my tail off and was determined, and I truly hated losing more than I ever enjoyed winning. And I hope that's something you can both appreciate. So my friends, roommates, and teammates at QU are obviously who made this experience truly what it was. I literally cannot list everyone. There were millions of people. The one thing I loved about QU is it's so small and so tight-knit. There's not a lot of places you'd be able to go and have someone inducted during your time, and you get 5 or 6 hugs from people you haven't seen in I don't know how many years, but this place was everything. A couple of very special thank yous to Sarah and Tristan, who are here today. The two of you are by far the best roommates I ever could have had. We have endless stories, but I'm obviously not sharing any of those up here. But Sarah, you were truly Mama Renner before your time. That was what we called Sarah because she took care of everyone. And obviously now a mother, I can only imagine she's a great one because if you can deal with us 20-year-olds, the kids should probably be a breeze. I also want to mention Sarah McMahon, who couldn't be here today, but she was a senior when I was a freshman, and she truly showed me the essence of a great teammate, regardless of age. Her and I bonded for life, and I'm sure she's one of the main reasons that I loved QU so much and never wavered on being here. I've watched many freshmen really struggle in their first years, and it's been difficult, and she helped make mine unforgettable. We definitely embraced the quote, "Be where your feet are," and made the most of every minute here. Jesse, you're truly the best teammate of all time. There are literally no words that can even encompass my gratitude. None of this would be possible without your constant push and support while also keeping me grounded. I'm so grateful to have the best teammate and hype person. Your energy and passion for my success is unmatched, and I cannot thank you enough. Okay, I'm almost done, guys, I promise. Okay. So my time at QU was literally nothing short of incredible, to be honest. I had the luxury of being close to home, but also making a home at QU, which is why I'm so fortunate to have a lot of great people here with me here today. I think the proximity to home helped this, obviously. My best friend, Nicole, is here from high school. My aunt and uncle are here, and they never miss literally anything to do with softball. I have like literally a whole list. Jacko, Tina, Bucker, Adam, you guys are constantly supporting me, even when it is not necessarily directly involved with you guys. The Lucys for being here. And then my nieces and nephews, like Alyssa, Jarek, Broxton, Rhett, and Kyla. I hope I get to celebrate all of you someday in some way like this. And I also saw Doug Johnson was trying to hide from me. I see you, Doug. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see you. So I want to thank you for your time and pushing me and helping me, because I think you've been hiding from me since I got here. So Doug was my advisor while I was here, so I can imagine he was glad to see me go. So, and then lastly, thank you to my former assistants and players that showed up for this: Adrian, Courtney, Taylor, Caitlin, Jess, April, Mal pushing along in that group. Also, Abby would never have missed today, but I actually have a wedding in Kansas City that I have to make it to. One of my old assistants is getting married this afternoon. So I want to leave it with coaching young women to be better players, teammates, and people than I ever could have been, while accomplishing things I was only to dream of as a player. It has allowed me to continue the sport that I love. And I appreciate all of you for being here. So for everyone that came to support me and all of the other inductees today, thank you. And I love you all. Thanks, Reggie.
One thing to note, Julie, was that VCR tape beta or VHS? Asking for a friend. Our next inductee, Shane Desherlia, football. Shane earned his business management degree from Quincy University in 2003. He spent 4 seasons on the Hawks football team as the quarterback. He's also as much a threat running the football as well as he was passing it. His freshman year, Shane passed for 9 touchdowns and ran for 1. His sophomore year, he threw 7 touchdowns and ran for 4. He had 8 passing TDs and 3 rushing touchdowns as a junior. But then his senior year happened. He threw for 13 touchdowns and ran for 12 more. Shane's total yardages stand out, passing for over 800 yards his first season, over 1,300 his second season, over 1,000 his junior season. And then when his senior year rolled around, he threw for 2,000 yards. In his 2 best rushing seasons, he ran for 440 yards his sophomore year and 786 yards as a senior. Shane's career totals are compelling. He totaled 37 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns. Shane's total yards totaled 1,494 rushing yards and 5,133 yards passing. Shane averaged 250 yards a game his senior season, which ranked him as the number 24 best total in NCAA Division II that season. Ladies and gentlemen, our next inductee, Shane Desherlia.
Julie, that's a tough act to follow. I don't do a lot of public speaking, so bear with me. But first, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Your presence here, celebrating today with your family and friends, it's greatly appreciated. I'd like to congratulate all of today's inductees. It's an honor for me to be joining you today. And I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for this recognition. It is truly a privilege to join exceptional people who have been bestowed this honor before me. And to my mom and dad, you've always instilled in my sisters and me to work hard and do what's right. And without these lessons and your continued love and support, I wouldn't be here today. I know I haven't said it enough, but thank you for everything you do, and I love you guys. Again, I'm Shane Desherlia. I'm a 2003 graduate of Quincy. I was blessed to have been quarterback for the Hawks from '99 to 2002. When Coach T called and shared that I was being inducted, I was shocked, and I'm humbled. You see, during my collegiate career and the 20 years since graduation, I've never thought of myself as a Hall of Fame candidate. So for me, it truly is an honor to be recognized as one. Since that initial phone call with Coach, I've had time to reflect about my time at Quincy and how it has impacted me. When I think about my days as a student athlete, one word comes to mind: challenging. Now, I'm not just talking about the challenges of adjusting to the speed of the game at the collegiate level, the challenges of being responsible, or getting accommodated to your new surroundings. As a player, you tend to adapt to the speed of play and the experiences come, and with experience comes known expectations as a player and comfort with your surroundings. The challenges I'm referencing are the challenges we face as a Division II football program with limited capital, a program with limited scholarships, and more importantly, a program that had a revolving door for offensive coordinators. And now, after Julie's speech, the challenge of following her up in today's induction. Now, it could be easy to confuse these challenges for excuses for having a disadvantage in competition, but we didn't. We didn't because my teammates, the guys that are here today and the guys that couldn't make it, and Coach T wouldn't allow it. We held each other accountable, we accepted the challenges presented each week, and we did our best to compete. Looking back at where the program was and where it is today is remarkable. The investments that have been made in the football program are growing and prospering. The future is bright for QU, and I look forward to seeing where things end. I want to thank my teammates, and if you guys that are here, please stand up. You need to be recognized too, because I'm not up here without you. Stand up. I want to thank my teammates for all the support they've shown me throughout the years. My induction today, again, only happens because of you. I am grateful to have been able to share the field with you and to call you my teammates and my friends. To my family, my friends, and my high school coach, Bill Braden, who was able to join us today. Thank you for your continued support. You've always been there for guidance and reassurance, and I truly appreciate you sharing today with me. To my wife, Emily, I don't tell you this enough. You're an amazing person, an amazing mother. I thank you for making me a better person, and I love you. To my kids, Quincy, Miles, and Zoe. And no, he's not named after Quincy University. I am blessed to call you mine, and I'm proud to be your father. I love you guys so much. And to Coach T, stand up, please. One thing that needs to be recognized, and I have recognized this, is that your love for this university and this football program is inspiring. I appreciate you allowing me to play for you and becoming a member of the QU family. Thank you.
Shane's time at Quincy University obviously overlapped with mine, and then one of our catchers on the baseball team went to Jerseyville High School with Shane, and we were sitting in the dorms. He's like, hey, we got a kid from Jerseyville coming to play quarterback for us. He's going to be legit. Shane showed up, and 20 years later, he was right. You were legit, Shane. Congratulations, Shane. Our next inductee, Demetrius Young, football. Demetrius graduated from Quincy University in 1992. While he was earning his history degree, Demetrius made some historical contributions to the Quincy University football team. He is ranked in the top 3 of the 4 most important rushing totals in school history: single game rushing yards, single game rushing attempts, career rushing attempts, and career rushing yards. When Demetrius was in the backfield as a sophomore and a junior, he shared carries with another Hall of Fame running back, Jerry Ellerman, and took handoffs from one of the best quarterbacks in school history, Brad Lemon. Demetrius joins 2 QU running backs, LeVar Ammons and Rob Munson, who share similar rushing statistics as Demetrius and are members of the QU Sports Hall of Fame. Quincy University was not a member of a conference during Demetrius' career, so he was able to learn all league awards. Bill Turlistner, who has been associated with the program as a player, assistant coach, head coach, and booster since 1988, says Demetrius is one of the most deserving football players to ever go into the Hall of Fame. Demetrius currently works for Pfizer Incorporated as a senior production leader. Ladies and gentlemen, Demetrius Young.
That ain't gonna happen. Right there. All right. Okay, where's Drew? Drew, where you at? Where you at? It's okay? Looks good, bro. Good? My man, love you. All right. First, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. With him, all things are possible. I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee, as well as Quincy University, where I grew into manhood. I'm beyond honored and extremely humbled by this induction. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. We are Hawks for life. Before I begin, I would like to thank all of my teammates, present and not present, offense and defense. Please stand right now and be recognized. Today's honor is ours. I did not get here alone. I'm a product of our bond as brothers. My love for football began when I was 7. Dad, thank you for spending Sundays watching the game with me. Thank you for instilling in me care for others, teaching me that being kind costs you nothing, but will let you leave good energy in this world. Thank you, I love you. Lothi, you accepted me as your son from the first moment I met you as a junior in high school. You brought stability, love, and care to me and my siblings. I love you. Thank you. While watching football with my dad, I immediately fell in love with running the ball. The greatest of all time, my idol, Walter Payton, who my son is named after, is who I tried to imitate. His motto of never die easy became mine as well. When I went to 9th grade, I had to switch high schools. I was not happy. Didn't know anybody, was the new kid, but I finally got my chance to play organized tackle football. Up to that point, soccer was my sport, and I was actually really good. But then I started knocking people over, and it was time to switch. My mom wouldn't let me play football. When the coaches asked us what position we played in high school in 9th grade, I said tailback, and all the kids started laughing. You see, all the kids at Hazelwood East High School had played together since they were in Pee Wee, so the coach knew his depth chart already. He knew who he wanted. Everyone looked good in shorts and helmets, then we put those pads on. During one scrimmage, I lowered my shoulder, knocked over one of my teammates, his helmet went flying off. I stepped on his chest and kept going for another 15 or so yards. By the end of camp, I was second string. Football pulled me out of a sad time for me. Darius, you were doing your thing, but you always checked on your little brother and made sure I was okay. Thank you, I love you. As a sophomore, I ran for about 1,100 yards, not bad for only my second year. Problem, I wasn't studying. Coach Rich Montgomery met me in the hall with my report card and told me I was a very good football player and definitely could play in college, but not with these grades. So I started studying. While some of my friends were going to hang out, I was headed to the kitchen table to study or to the gym. But the primary force behind my improvement was my mom. I couldn't take the disappointment on her face when she saw my grades, and she also threatened my life. My mother taught me always have high values, always be better than average, and live up to your full potential in whatever you do. Love you, Mom. Thank you. My junior year, I broke my ankle and only played in 2 games. Not playing my junior year gave me that mentality of a caged beast. I was ready. Unfortunately, my head coach chose not to play me until the 4th game of the season. In 7 games, I rushed for over 850 yards and 10 touchdowns. Later, I learned that my coach wasn't supporting me when it came to playing at the next level. College recruiters would come and talk with me, but never get back with me. Enter Coach Randy Dickens. Where you at, Coach? He visited my school, sat with me, told me I could be part of something special, something new that he was building. Thank you, Coach. You cared about me as a person and set standards for me. That first semester in college, I didn't study. Coach called me into his office, showed me my grades, and let me know these grades are unacceptable. He challenged me to do better, to be better, to not let my team and family down. I started studying and made sure I was at the required study hall. I made studying an everyday thing. I went from a D, F student to a B student. Coach was waiting for me at the end of the semester, telling me, Michi, I knew you could do it. Thank you, Coach. A note to this speech, man, I partied that first semester. In college, there's always something going on every night, and every night I found it, whether on or off campus. Quincy University taught me there was a time and place for everything. Taught me discipline, taught me to plan, set goals, and always be prepared for tests in life or in the classroom. I arrived on campus not sure what to expect. I was very confident, bordering on cocky. You see, playing running back is very unique. It requires 2 different mindsets. You have to believe that you are unstoppable and want the ball every play, but you also have to know and understand that you will not achieve success without the other 10 members of your offense. I learned real quick that college defenders like contact just as much as I did. Steve Rapp, our 250-pound middle linebacker and team captain, hit me so hard that all I remember was seeing his number, seeing the sky, and then seeing the ground. He then said to me, "Welcome to college football." Our linebackers and defense as a whole made me better by trying to knock my head off in practice every day. Iron sharpens iron. Steve's hit on me is a great segue to our practices. People don't realize that compared to practice, games are a piece of cake. Practice in the weight room are where football players are made. The one-on-one tackling drills, the 100-yard sprints, the nature runs and full pass through the backwoods in Quincy, the 2-a-day practices during camp, and that infamous hill at the edge of our practice field, which was like this. It wasn't the size of that hill, it was the angle. Reverse sit-ups, regular sit-ups, jumping jacks, one-legged hops, push-ups, sprinting up and down that hill, all tested your will. I never quit on that hill, but it pushed me to the limit. The wonderful thing about football is regardless of where you are from, your religious beliefs, your socioeconomic class, or your color, competing in practice bonds you with your teammates, and you become brothers. For my first 3 years at QU, I was in a competition with Hall of Fame tailback Jerry Ellerman. Where you at, Jerry? Every year the depth chart came out at the end of camp. Ellerman and Young were both listed as number 1. Jerry and I pushed each other to be better, and every week that depth chart read Ellerman Young or Young Ellerman. We made each other better. My relationship with Jerry truly taught me about team. In one game, Jerry scored like 5 or 6 touchdowns. And after his 4th score, I took off my helmet and made sure I was the first person he saw coming off the field. Football had just taught me another lesson. Be happy for the success of others on your team. Give them positive energy and love, and it will be returned to you, and you'll become a better person. My competition with Jerry almost ended after my freshman year. I considered transferring, but all I could think about was not letting my team down and feeling like a quitter. If you ever want to offend an athlete, tell them they quit on something. My sophomore and junior years were amazing. Coach Mike Ginbendorfer came in with new energy and a new offense. He had Jerry and I on the field at the same time. We became thunder and lightning. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate everything you did and recognizing what we could do as a tandem. But those years really were about our offensive line and our tight end. They were the leaders who set the tone for us. We had some memorable games. Against William Penn, we ran for over 200 yards on a wet field. I knew my wide feet had to be good for something. Turns out I could run well in bad conditions. I fumbled on the 1-yard line after a 65-yard run. Fortunately, our defense saved my bacon and shut them down, and we came out with the win. I was distraught after that game because I felt I let my team down. I apologized to the team and vowed to never let that happen again. I kept that vow. We played against Eureka College, and they ran the wishbone offense. They had two small, fast running backs and a quarterback who was quick as lightning. Our offense was sputtering. At halftime, we were down 17-0. Before we left for the second half, our defense coordinator, Coach Bertrand, addressed the whole team, which he rarely did at halftime. I can't use all the words he used because there are kids in here. But it was something like, get your cranium out of your gluteus maximus, along with some other words. I think someone broke the door to the locker room on the way out as well. Coach Emmendorfer came to me and said, we're going to get you going. We did just that. We came out and started pounding them, which I love to do. 6 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 9 yards. Then a long pass and run to Pat O'Malley. I ended the drive with a 30-yard touchdown run with their safety trying to stop me at the goal line. Too bad for him. That wasn't going to happen. I lowered my shoulder and ran that guy over and dragged him into the end zone. We went on to win 18-17, and we all had plenty of adult beverages that night. Against Culver Stockton my junior year, we ran all over that team. We didn't like them very much. And that day, we let them know it. Beating them 29-0 after losing to them in the final seconds the previous year was therapeutic. One of the best games I ever played in was one we didn't win. We tied Greenville College 19-19. That team was stacked with some Division I talent, and every time I got the ball, there were 2 or 3 people around me. Coach adjusted by turning me into a blocker and handing the ball to our fullback, Ron Keel. I absolutely wore that middle linebacker out. You can't do this now, but I put my helmet right on his chin several times. Every time I went to block him, he would just look at me and like, oh, here we go again. I only gained about 40 yards that game, but I helped my team hold our own against a very good team. I left the field upset that we couldn't put them away. I also left with a tremendous amount of pride for our team and pride for us as brothers. My last year at QU, we had 4 new starters on the O-line. I was a senior. I knew I had to help set the tone, so I came into camp at about 230 pounds. I was too heavy and lost some quickness. So I set about losing the task of losing 10 pounds. By the second game of the season, I had lost that 10 pounds and got my wiggle back. We were 3-7 that year. Only winning 3 games was a miserable feeling. We had new coaches, new offense, and a new culture that had some issues to work through. I was even moved to fullback for a few games. But through it all, I leaned on my principles of always running hard and doing what the team needed. Out of all the things I accomplished at Quincy, there was one thing I'm most proud of. Out of the 555 carries, I have 2 fumbles. And one of them was a bad call because I was down, and I'm still looking for that referee to let him know I was down. I remember Coach saying, Demetrius, get off the field. It's over, get off the field. I said, Coach, I was down. I believe those numbers say something about me. I became dependable and trustworthy. After I left Quincy, football was still in my blood, but I was a father now. My daughter had to be taken care of, which meant I had to provide for her. I quit chasing my professional dream and started my career in professional fatherhood. Love you, Mia. My daughter and later on my son gave me focus and purpose. Amazingly, football still was not done with me. Years later, I went through a rough patch in my life. I had moved to Nashville and went through an ugly divorce. I was alone and hanging out in the bars and drinking. My supervisor at the time was the owner of a semi-pro football team, the Sumner County Express. Every day, he would look at me and beg me to come try out, and every day I would tell him I can't play anymore. After a year of this, I finally gave in. The season started in April, so I started training in December. Looking back on it, I needed football to get me focused, to pull me out of a low point in my life. Fast forward to the last day of full contact practice before our first game. I was running late because I had to work late. As I was jogging onto the field, I had to go through the defense who was warming up. One of the starting linebackers started cursing and said, God, we were hoping you weren't coming to practice today. We are, insert the F-bomb, tired of trying to tackle you. Man, that was the ultimate compliment. I was 35 years old, 250 pounds, and surprisingly could still run a 4.6 40-yard dash. I was also the oldest player on that team. Now I know how you felt, Ron and Ron. They didn't know football was my therapy. It helped me deal with the time away from my kids and the feeling I had of being a failure. We went 8-0 and made it to the championship game, but lost 12-6. I led that team in yards gained, and my teammates loved my punishing style of running. That next year, the team begged me to come back, offered me more money, and called me every day. I couldn't do it anymore. It took me 6 days to recover from playing. My body was telling me it's time to stop. The sport of football was telling me, I've given you all you need to make it. Be good to people. Remember everything I taught you. Now go be the best man you can be. After that season, I quit my job and moved back to St. Louis. I apologize to my kids for being away. And promised them that I would never leave them again. I kept that promise. There's some people I need to thank. Bill Starky, you paved the way for me for 3 years, bro. Most of those yards are yours. You also paved the way for me to be here today. You blocked the 2 Hall of Fame running backs. Your play is Hall of Fame worthy. John Cassidy, the heart and soul of our team. I watched you leave it on the field, literally parts of your body. I have mad respect for you. Your play is Hall of Fame worthy as well. Ed Hogan, thank you for your sacrifice and playing through some ugly injuries, bro. I'll never forget your purple, black, blue, and green ankle. You never missed a game. Jared Selby, strong as an ox, calm, cool, collected, but played with an inner rage that matched his physical strength. Jeff Amels, you were a monster, bro. Dominated and solidified our right side. I loved running behind you. Thank you. Eric Soveru, thank you for all your hard work. The tight end is the linchpin to a running game. Well done. Our trainers, Ann Chopek, am I saying that right? Yes. Ann Chopek, DeFranco, Kathleen Cato. Someone's calling me. A little busy right now. Kathleen Landry Bender, you guys put in major work getting us ready to play. Be proud of your work. It's Hall of Fame worthy and recognized. My brothers on defense, time will not allow me to name all of you. Steve Rapp, Brent Doring, Matt Hinks, Joe Gutting, Darren Hess, Bill Schramm, TJ Bart, Willie Baker are all foundational players. Thank you for making me better. Defense wins games. My brothers on offense, Shannon Hare, the first person I met here. Thank you for your kindness and acceptance. You helped make my decision to attend QU. And I'll finally say this, you were faster than me. For 3 years, I tried to beat you running, and I couldn't do it. Brad Lemon, Dave Cook, Jake Ryan, Elvis Turkovich, Pat O'Malley, Jim Getty, Keith Ritter, Alan George, Paul Maddy, Kendall Cummins, Mike Renner, Chuck Bartlett, Wayne Sapp, John Miller, thank you. Special shout out to Mike Singleton, where you at? You changed my life, bro. You took care of me and several of my teammates. You watched out for us. You told me I could be great if I worked hard. Thank you. Ron Keel, the Juggernaut, where you at? The Juggernaut. We punished him, didn't we? After watching you almost knock someone's head off so I could run, I always tried to yell at them on the way back to the huddle. Man, that had to hurt. Don't worry, he'll be right back. Thank you for all you did and your continued friendship today. Horace Guthrie, your passion for football was infectious. No one on this earth loves football more than you. Thank you for saving the rest of the furniture, by the way. My dudes, I love you all. My inner circle with over 100 years of friendship. Mark Wise, your never back down attitude made you a great linebacker, even after getting run over by me several times. Andre Easley, my right-hand man. Tim Cutts, my new brother. Deion Young, my little bro. Your existence made me the best role model I could be. To Quincy University, thank you for allowing me to accomplish my dream of playing college football. This environment allowed me to expand my mind and become a productive citizen. To my children, all 5 of you, thank you for helping give me purpose and being on this journey with me. I love you all. Finally, my beautiful wife. It took me a while to find you, but I had to be ready. You were brought to me to make me believe in love again. I love you. May God bless all of you, and thank you for being on this football journey with me.
Congratulations, Demetrius. I'm not going to lie, as the MC, I should have that jacket on. Stay tuned next year. I plan on getting his tailor's info. Our final inductees, the 1984-1985 women's tennis team. I would like to bring up Coach Ann Bergman to induct this team. Ann.
Okay. Demetrius, I'd love for you to give my presentation. Congratulations to all the inductees and welcome to campus for all of you. We've been here a long time. Some of you and I have been here together. And let me say that I want to give you a short background about tennis and how it started at Quincy University. So it was not what I expected when I was hired for this job in 1961. I was at the University of Missouri, and one of the men in my graduate classes found out that I had agreed to come to Quincy University or college then to teach. He said, "Oh, you're going to love it." He said, "They have the greatest basketball tournament. You'll never see a basketball tournament as great as this. John Ertworth runs a wonderful holiday tournament." And I thought, okay, I want to see this tournament. Well, Joanne, where are you? You were a part of all the parties afterwards, and I love that too, okay? So when I came for my interview in the spring, Father Titus Lewis had called the University of Missouri and asked them to recommend someone to come here to teach. And so they suggested that I come. So they called and invited me up for an interview, and I had to fly from Columbia, Missouri, to our airport here in Quincy. It was kind of chilly, kind of nasty April day, and so I had no idea what John Ortworth looked like. He said he would pick me up at the airport. So here I saw a tall, blonde-haired man in a long trench coat, had it buckled tight, hands in his pockets, and he walked up and he said, "Are you Ann Hawk?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I am here to take you to campus, and we'll talk in the car, and we'll find out if you like Quincy University and if it'll be a good fit for you." I thought he was Columbo, you know, a blonde Columbo with a collar up, the whole business. So John drove me to campus, and I met Father Titus Ludus and Father Julian Woods. Some of you maybe have never heard of those names before, but they were the president and the academic dean here on campus. So we talked, and he showed me campus, and what the gym was like, and what he was promoting was to build a strong physical education major program. One woman was leaving. She had been here 2 or 3 years. Her name was Alice Hogan. She was from the East Coast, and the claim to fame that John told me and David Costigan told me, she could shoot a basket, make a basket from the half-court line. And I thought, well, is that her claim to fame? You know, it must be good because it's not mine. So she was going back to the East Coast. She evidently couldn't cope with the Midwest ways, but I was hired, and they hired a second person the same year. Then there were 2 other coaches that followed that person. So I've actually worked with 3 full-time people here within a very short time of like 5 or 6 years. There was a turnover. So I had, from coming here, I had my dream. I wanted to teach and coach in college. So not really asking all the right questions at an interview, I didn't know they didn't have intercollegiate sports. I didn't know that the girls' skill level was low. I was used to a little higher level of skill, and so when my first activity classes, basketball activity, okay, we're going to dribble down, we're going to do this drill. They dribbled ball, caught it, dribbled ball, caught it. I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be quite a teaching experience. Many of the girls had come from Catholic schools, and they didn't have any physical education program. So we had to do a lot of mind searching. That first year or 2, I was pretty frustrated, but we came along, and I started to create ways in which they could get sparked up and feel like they're learning something. They're majors. They're going to try to go back to schools and teach, and they didn't have the skills. So Culver Stockton was the closest place, and I contacted the woman who was coaching there, and in those days they had what was called a play day. Socially, you'd get together, you'd play some games, you'd play maybe a sport, you'd have a little punch and cookie, and you'd go home. So that's how we started. I handpicked majors from our program, drove my car, took them to Culver so they could play and meet other girls that were hopefully better and could show them a few things. Well, we played at that time 6-man women's basketball, half court. I would say it was slaughter on Fifth Avenue because that bounce and catch didn't dribble up to the half court line. But they learned a lot. They came home and they started talking to others and said, you know, this is going to be something new and different. We're going to get better, and why don't you come and play with us? So that's how we started, word of mouth, moving small groups to practice a little bit more, a little harder, and then we had local people with special talents. Now, one of the majors that we had was Barbara Colvin. I don't know if you know her, but she was on the tennis programs and in tennis clubs here in Quincy. And so she was always hanging around the tennis court. She was a physical education major. And she said, you know, come and play tennis with me. So I did, and we started developing this relationship. And I said, Barbara, why can't we start tennis here? Oh, she said, I can probably find some girls that would want to play. They play in the Park District. And I said, okay, let's see what we can do. So Culver then had some kind of a tennis program. It's been so long I don't remember. But they wanted one doubles team from QU to go play. And so Roger Francoeur and I had Barbara Colvin and John Runday. I don't know if any of you remember that name. He was a basketball player here. And so the 2 of them went over and represented the college and had a great time. Well, then they came back and they sparked that up again. So I would hand pick players. Barbara knew players. In my activity classes, they were required to take 2 years of physical education. So I would encourage those that had potential from Tennis 1 to take Tennis 2, and then I'd try to talk them into playing tennis. Well, that's how our tennis team started. I took them in my own car, drove them to the places, paid for their lunch, got them back home, back to class, and we started by playing Culver Stockton and McMurray College because they were close. We didn't have to miss very many classes. We'd come back and forth. Well, in those days, we always wanted more, always wanted more. So when some of the turnover and the teachers that came, they would stay maybe a year, 2 years, and then finally we got a nucleus when Charlene Peter came, that we had some continuity and we could develop a program and go further. When we started, physical education majors were maybe 20 men and women. And at one period, we had 85 majors. So the program grew and grew and grew, and we had to bring the other sports along too. Well, my third year, Roger Frank Hoare, after some encouragement, started an intramural program for the girls, and it was pretty small. And the girls were a little embarrassed to be out there and have all the boys up googling and goggling about seeing how they were playing. They would tighten up their clothes and be more particular about their looks and play, but it came. It really did come. After better activity classes, better intramurals, and offering opportunities for girls, it came. We built our tennis program around the local players, and then hopefully from park districts, from other schools, they had strong players that would come in, and word of mouth, that's how we got them to play tennis. But today you are recognizing a very special group. They are the team of 83, 84. The picture in the manual in the book is incorrect. It is a team that has been a strong nucleus for about 3 strong years and carry over for 4. And I want to introduce the girls right now, but I think their statistics and everything will be read later. Brenda Kluba, if you'll stand, please. These girls are all the same age as my own daughter, and Kelly says congratulations, by the way. Okay, so Brenda, she come to class, some to practice. What do you want to do today? Everything here, everything out, everything okay? I said, well, we're going to do a little running. Oh, you know I don't want to run. She could run so fast on her tiptoes, make no noise at all, and never sweat. Never sweat. And then Sharon Kluba, her sister, Sharon would come, great big eyes, oh, Mrs. Bergman, and she'd have her hair in a long ponytail, and it would just float, 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 float. And Sharon was up for everything. Oh, are we ready? Let's play. Come on, you want to go hit some balls? Now let's play. And then Doris Thomas. When I met Doris, she had the largest big brown eyes. Oh my gosh. And she would kind of walk like this, you know. Wasn't sure, very tentative, but that big smile and those big eyes, and she would say, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we going? We're going to play. And then Joan Ottenlips. Joni. Joni had more energy than 47 girls. She would go out and run 5 miles and come in and say, I'm ready for practice. I got my workout in. And there again, never lost her smile, never lost a step. Always there, right where she needed to be. Julie Fisher, are you here? She was supposed to be coming down from St. Louis. She is not here. Jenny Keys is not here. Jenny was a local girl, actually, because Bob Keys was hired to come to coach at Notre Dame. So she was one of the locals from this particular team. And then another girl was Laura Gabriel. And the later years, after we went NAIA and then everything promoting women's sports, we did have a little scholarship money, a little. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Kluba for supporting my team. If I hadn't had the two Kluba girls, if the parents hadn't sent them here, we had needed more players for sure. They held the nucleus of the team. So with a little bit of money, we could do a little bit more, but recruiting was really difficult. In junior colleges, there was one or two that would maybe come and be considering Quincy University, but most of them went to bigger universities. But I had Laura Gabriel come, and she was looking at another school, and she and her parents came, and she played a little bit, and we were visiting, and she said, well, I'm interested in Quincy University, but I don't think that's quite enough money. Well, no, it wouldn't be. But I'm thankful for what we did have, and I'm happy to give it. But she said, I heard you play golf. And I said, yes, that's really my love. I love golf. She said, well, I would come here if you would teach me how to play golf. Oh, what's to say on that? Yes. So that's how Laura came here. And she played with us for 2 years. She and Brenda were District 20 doubles championships in 1983 and were invited to the NAIA tournament. And then in 83, in 82, 83, they won. And then this team is 83, and they were undefeated. This is super team, 83, 84. They were 11-0. Not once did we talk about our win-loss record, because 2 other years previous, I went 11-1, 10-1, and I thought, we're not going to jinx it by talking about win or loss. So luckily, we were 11-0, and that qualified us. We were District 20 champions. We were invited to the national intercollegiate competition, and we were looking to go for big places. It was in Overland Park, Kansas. But we loved it. We went, and we were very happy to be there. So I'm very proud to present the team of 1983, 84 as national participants and an undefeated season. And I think you will discuss what they're offering, correct?
The 1984-85 women's tennis team. They were undefeated in the regular season with an 11-0 record. This team was coached, of course, by Ann Bergman, one of the best educators and coaches in QU's history. The fall of 1984, Coach Bergman's team capped off the most successful season ever in QU history by sweeping through the NAIA District 20 championships with first-place honors. The key to the team's wins was all 3 doubles teams won their championships. While every player in the team won over 80% of their singles matches, the undefeated team was led by the lone senior and #1 singles player, Laura Gabriel. Laura received the Scholar Athlete of the Year award from the Hawkes Booster Club and the Scholar Athlete of the Year by the International Tennis Coaches Association. Laura finished her 2-year career at Quincy College with an amazing 65-9 record, combined singles and doubles. Jenny Keys broke that record the following year. Sharon Kluba was in the number 5 slot, and Julie Fisher was in the number 6 slot. Both won their singles division at the District 20 championships. The #1 doubles team of Laura Gabriel and Doris Thomas won their division. The number 2 team of Sharon Kluba and Jenny Keys and the number 3 team of Brenda Kluba and Julie Fisher also won their divisions. Of the Hawkettes' 11 victories in the 84-85 season, 7 of them were by the score of 9-0. NAIA Women's Tennis National Tournament was held in May, but it proved a little bit rough for the team as they did not have a spring season prior to the tournament. By the second round of doubles and singles, the Hawkettes were unfortunately eliminated. Please help me welcome Coach Ann Bergman and players Sharon Kluba Harty, Brenda Kluba Schneider, Joan Ottenlip Zilch, Doris Thomas Schulte to the stage. Thank you.